1 on 3, 1 on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Shut up, man. You already know.
All right, man. Have some fun.
Jets on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Cold, wind, rain, and snow. You never know in Buffalo. It's football weather today as Quinnen Williams enters the stadium along with Jets quarterback Zach Wilson. This is the final game the Jets will play this season, while the Buffalo Bills could ensure a home playoff game with a win. Hello and welcome to Pregame Central presented by Uber Eats. I'm Eric Allen inside the BetMGM studio. Coming up, we'll hear from both Caroline Hendershot and Ethan Greenberg, but let's start with Eric Coleman and Anthony Becht. This is going to be some kind of environment for the Jets today, going toe-to-toe with the Buffalo Bills with the division title on the line. Last week, we saw something from the Jets in terms of their mettle against the defending Super Bowl champs. This week, they do it on the road, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a big challenge for the Jets. Orchard Park is going to be on fire. The crowd they're all excited about the opportunity to win the division with the win against the Jets. So it's going to be a playoff-like atmosphere for this team. And I think that that's great for this team. They're young to get in that atmosphere, to get the experience, to get a big game under their belt and prepare for what's in store next year. Because I know they're all hoping that next season the Jets will be in this position to win the AFC East.
Anthony, Zach Wilson getting ready for kickoff, 4:25, the late start today. Right now, no precipitation, but you can see the wind. That is going to always tricky in Buffalo. I wanted to get to a key point, though. You've said all along that you thought the Jets would benefit from this finishing stretch. Did they surprise you last week against the Buccaneers? And what do you think the Jets have in store today?
Well, I don't necessarily think they surprised me. I felt like they went out there, executed, and did exactly what the game plan entailed. Zach Wilson obviously had to be on point. He led the team to multiple drives, multiple scoring drives in that game. Defense came up big. I mean, you needed a group effort in all three phases, and they really got that in that football game. And now you look at this game, just like we said last week, being able to amplify the schedule at the end when a lot of your players now got some games under the belt, some of those younger secondary players, and, of course, Zach Wilson, this is going to be a great challenge. And look, the Bills are playing for something, right? So they're going to come out here guns a-blazing, and the Jets have a big opportunity to have a spoiler here. And this is what it's all about. Just like Coleman said, going up there in this kind of hostile environment, you have to deal with the weather. You have to go out there and have a lot of challenges and a lot of things you're going to have to deal with. But outside of that, if you go out there and execute, play smart, don't turn the ball over, you always have a chance to be in the game in the fourth quarter.
All year we've asked fans to be part of this show. No different today. So far this season, Jets rookie running back Michael Carter has 620 rush yards and 325 receiving yards. Will the Jets' fourth-round pick reach 1,000 yards from scrimmage today against the Bills? You have an opportunity to vote now. I put that baby up on Twitter last night in preparation as I was looking ahead to this game. What do you think about the matchup from a safety position against Josh Allen today? Josh Allen coming off the worst game of his career statistic-wise. 3 interceptions last week. Passer rating was brutal, but he is one of the elite playmakers in the National Football League.
Absolutely. I mean, Josh Allen, a phenomenal talent. He has a great arm, mobile ability. So it's going to be a big challenge for the safeties. They're going to have to stay deep in coverage and know when to break from coverage and come up and tackle him when he does scramble. So it is a big challenge. You have to cover a lot longer. So hopefully that pass rush gets home and makes it tough on Josh Allen, because if not, he's running around scrambling. It's tough to plaster. It's tough to cover a receiver for 5-6 seconds back there in the secondary. So, hopefully the defensive line will get home and have a great day today.
Yeah, he can get in some dangerous situations for himself when he's trying to do too much. But Josh Allen, we're going to point it out later on in the show. His statistics this year just off the charts, but he has turned the ball over on occasion. Anthony, Wilson is starting to come into his own for the Jets. What's been the biggest difference you've seen in his play?
Well, it looks like there's confidence in his reads, his progressions. He understands the offense. And again, every single rep matters. Every single drive, every single third down conversion that they gets them more opportunities to showcase some of his skill set. And you can see last week, which I thought was his best performance by far, he was able to understand and show that he had a grasp of what the system was asking him to do, and he had a plan. You didn't see a guy forcing footballs. You didn't see a guy throwing the ball into double coverage. You didn't see a guy when he was rolling to the left or the right trying to, make some huge play. When it wasn't there, he took what the defense gave him, and he was strategic on the choices when those big plays did present themselves in the football game. And that was a very, very good defense by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against them last week. So, look, he's got a huge challenge this week. He's got a plethora of players he's going to have to deal with at every level of this Bills defense, in particular their safeties and how they play. So he's going to have to be a smart player. Remember, the weather is a factor. He can't let his balls float up in the air. He's got to make sure he's firm with his ball today, and he really puts it in a spot where his guys can make the play.
Quinnen Williams, of course, played collegiately at Alabama. He doesn't mind the cold weather at all. He's out there showing his guns there prior to the Jets and the Bills starting 4:25 kickoff, late kickoff. So that Buffalo crowd is going to be lively. The Bills, interesting situation right now, because if they do win this game, they will cement their place in first for a second consecutive year. Last year, of course, fellas, during COVID times, no fans inside the building. So the Bills have an opportunity not just to win the division again, but to do it in front of their home fans. And right now, the other game that Bills fans are watching right now is Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. If the Browns do win that game, the Bills have an opportunity to vault over Cincinnati and then become the third seed and host a playoff game next week. If they lose and the New England Patriots win, if the Jets win today and the Patriots win, the Patriots will win the AFC East. And both clubs having fun on Twitter, Eric Coleman. I want to get your thoughts on that. The Patriots Twitter account said, "We're rooting for the Jets today."
Yeah, it's not often you see the Patriots rooting for us. But listen, we have to do what we have to do. I think everyone, if you go out there and handle your business, all the chips will fall as they may. It's a great opportunity right now for the Jets to get this win. And whether it's New England or Buffalo, both of them are your rivals. So somebody has to win it. So it may as well be the other team that's not playing in this game. So if you're the Jets, you're going out there trying to put your best foot forward, come out there with the win, and make those fans in Orchard Park go home with their heads down and miss out on a playoff game.
Yeah, bottom line, the Jets want to take care of their own business today. They're not worried about helping the New England Patriots. Uber Eats, the official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL, is delivering game day deals all season. Order now with your Uber Eats app. You're watching Pregame Central presented by Uber Eats. Let's bring in Ethan Greenberg. Ethan, we started this show talking about the quarterbacks, but let's talk about the run game revival for the New York Jets.
Yeah. So far over the past 2 weeks, the Jets second in the NFL in rushing yards per game, averaging 211.5. Also second in the NFL, averaging 6.2 yards per rush. Those numbers are outstanding. Michael Carter, he was somebody that we were looking at earlier in the week. Will he or will he not play this week? Remember, he was battling a concussion that he sustained early in last week's game against the Bucs. He's cleared protocol. He's expected to go. Needs, 55 yards to reach the 1K from scrimmage yards, whether that's through the air or the ground, we'll see. But on the ground, Michael Carter, third play from scrimmage last week, 55 yards up the right sideline. He was upset he didn't score on that one. And then the Jets get Tevin Coleman back in the lineup. He missed last week's game because of the reserve COVID list. And then you factor in what the Bills do on defense. First in pass, first in total defense, top 3 in takeaways. They're stout everywhere, every statistical category, except maybe one, and that's against the rush. The Bills rank 19th in the NFL. You guys mentioned the weather earlier. Maybe the Jets, you would imagine, would look to ride the hot hands in the backfield and try to establish something up front, EA.
Let's talk about the offensive line real quickly. How about Dan Feeney, what he did last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Jets, yeah, rushing for 273 yards against the Jaguars is one thing, but taking it to the Buccaneers up front and those guys in the middle without some starters up there was awfully impressive. Good game from Feeney at the center position. No George Fant for the Jets today, Ethan, but it's likely Chuma Edoga will get to start again. I wanted to ask you about the receiver position. One guy who's been super down the stretch for the Jets is Braxton Berrios, but it doesn't look like he's going to go today, does it?
It does not. The Jets placed Braxton Berrios on injured reserve the other day, but the good news here is that Jamison Crowder is back in the lineup. And Jamison Crowder, if the season were over today, which it is, but if it were over right now, and I think this is going to be the case in terms of his stats, I think he's going to be the team's leading receiver in terms of receptions each of the last 3 seasons. Past 2 years, he leads the team with 50, and with Berrios out of the lineup, it sure seems like he will be the guy again, and he's a super reliable target. And in 2019, he had a good game against Buffalo that ended the season in Buffalo. And then to open up the season in 2020, remember, he had that 69-yard catch and run down the sideline. So Jamison Crowder, very familiar with Buffalo, although the play in the beginning of the 2020 season, the weather much different in September than it is in January in Orchard Park. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then the Jets called up Tariq Black from the practice squad yesterday. So the Jets get back Jamison Crowder. They're down Braxton Berrios, which also leads me to special teams, because if Braxton Berrios or without him in the lineup there, you would imagine the kick returners are likely to be Tevin Coleman and Keelan Cole.
Good stuff as always, Ethan. No Berrios, no Elijah Moore today for the New York Jets, and of course Corey Davis. Berrios is the latest who was placed on injured reserve this week, but the Jets are hopeful Jamison Crowder will be back in the lineup. Looks like all signs are pointing to a go for Crowder. 50 receptions so far this season. Let's get the view from the broadcast booth. Is our Caroline Hendershot recently visited with Trent Green to get the CBS analyst's thoughts on Jets Bills.
How do you think a young team can benefit from being in an environment in front of a wild card crowd, in front of all of them, in a cold atmosphere against the Bills, who kind of have everything at stake here?
You know, I think there's a lot of benefit to all kinds of experiences. I think especially when you're dealing with a young team like the Jets have, and they're trying to build something, when you consider what Robert Saleh started with and his coaching staff, and how a number of rookie players, drafted rookie players have gotten significant playing time, especially on the offensive side of the ball. When you start looking at experience, these are all things that you want to stack up and you want to try and build upon. You can see how the team has continued to play with effort. You can see how they're continuing to try and win games, and they've been in the thick of things, especially the last 3 weeks. So I think there's a lot of value that can come from these games as long as you have the right mindset, and it appears that Coach Saleh has them on that page.
Now, one of those guys that have been leading the charge those past 3 weeks that you talked about is quarterback Zach Wilson. And he didn't see the Bills the first time around in week 10 when the Jets played them. What have you seen from his improvement since he's been back in the mix since week 12?
Well, I think the number one thing, and it's pretty evident to everybody, he hasn't turned the ball over. You know,
Yeah.
He hasn't had the interceptions the last 4 games, if you go back another one. So the fact that he has a better understanding of what defenses are doing, the Buffalo Bills love to take the football away. Their defense is one of the tops in the NFL. I believe they have 30 takeaways on the season. And so they like to cause pressure. They like to affect the opposing quarterbacks. They like to, get up in your face and be very physical style of play to force you to make mistakes. And I think where Zach has really controlled things the last few weeks is he's taken better control of the ball. And a lot of times when you look at a young quarterback that all of a sudden doesn't turn the ball over, you say, how is that happening, or what's happening? And sometimes it correlates to sacks, right? Zach, if you hang onto the ball as a young quarterback, okay, I don't want to throw interceptions. I don't want to fumble the football. So you hang onto the ball longer instead of trying to make that throw. Well, that necessarily hasn't been the case the last couple of weeks. When you look at, he's only been sacked 2 times in the last 2 games total. So taking better care of the football, protecting him, and it all comes back to the running game. There really wasn't much of a running game early in the season, and the Jets have done a much better job running the football lately. So it all ties together. Thus, the performance of Zach Wilson is performing much better. And I think the offense in general has been playing much better.
Great stuff from Caroline and Trent Green. Trent Green's going to be on the game for CBS today. You are watching Pregame Central presented by Uber Eats. The Jets closed the regular season today in Buffalo. Let's set the stage for you. The Jets are 4-12, got an opportunity to pick up that 5th win. Conversely, the Buffalo Bills, with a win, they will be AFC East champs for a 2nd consecutive season and guaranteed to host a playoff game next week. They can be as high as a 3 seed. But if the Jets go in there, take care of business, and pull off the upset, the New England Patriots would have a door open to win the division if they go into Miami and take down the Dolphins today. Jets aren't worried about the Patriots. I guarantee you that. Let's bring the fellas back in. Eric Coleman, Anthony back. Anthony, I think about the early 2000s when the Jets actually won the AFC East in an improbable title. You can talk about that yourself, where the Jets had to get help. The Herm Edwards club, you play to win the game. Everybody thought the Jets were out of it, and they win the division in 2002 with a 9-7 mark. Can you talk about your experiences?
Well, yeah, we started off behind the 8 ball. I mean, we lost a bunch of games early, and trying to fight and claw yourself back to 500 and get yourself to a winning record. And then, nothing better than watching that game on the big screen and then playing your game, knowing that, all the marbles are there and you can take care of business and make that big jump to the playoffs. So, there's nothing like it. And this is what the organization and team is fighting and striving for. You starting to see things from this team that show you that some players on this football team, some new guys on this roster, are really starting to figure it out a little bit, and they're putting it on tape. And, nothing out there at all can make you a better player more than reps. And if you can stay healthy and be on the field and get more reps, they can continue to elevate themselves and put themselves in game day situations and have that recall so that when they're out there again the next week and the next week and then the next year, they can learn from it and have that film to build off of. So that's what, Robert Saleh was talking about this season, about that process. And that is part of the process, getting as many of those players to play as they can. And, unfortunately with COVID and injuries, you get even more of those guys out there. But that only helps a team like the Jets, who moving forward is going to have a ton of draft picks, cap money, and also guys that are going to be back healthy next year that are on IR this season.
How about that for a history lesson there? December 29th, 2002, the New York Jets take down the Green Bay Packers at home 42-17. Needed an outcome of the Patriots beating the Miami Dolphins, and of course that happened in overtime. And then the Jets went out and ran roughshod over the Green Bay Packers, who were led by Brett Favre at the time.
Yeah, I love it. There's nothing better, than being in that position where if we win, we're in. We're going to handle our business. To put yourself in that position is a great feeling. I'm proud. I didn't come onto the team until 2 years after that playoff win, but we went to a couple playoffs ourselves. And I know, Anthony, my first year, when we played Pittsburgh, that's a great feeling, knowing that you're going to the playoffs, winning that wild card game. It's just a great feeling once you get into that tournament, because at that point in time, any team, whoever gets hot, whoever's playing the best football, they can win. There's no stopping you. So I look forward to the days when this Jets team is in the playoff hunt again. I think they're getting close. They have a lot of young players, getting a ton of valuable experience. Like Anthony said, there's a lot of guys coming off of IR next year, a lot of cap money, draft capital. There's so much to look forward to if you're the New York Jets, and I'm just really excited for them to get back on the field next season after this game.
Yeah, they're definitely going to benefit from this experience today, going up there and facing the Bills in this type of environment. It's a win-win for the Jets. And I got to second what Anthony's been saying all along. Who else would you rather finish the season with than the Buccaneers and the Bills? And the Jets are going to be better because of this. Let's get into our matchups to watch and start with Anthony.
Yeah, for me, it starts with Michael Carter. The young man's been a rookie phenom, not for this team, but really throughout the league, going against Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds is arguably one of the best all-around linebackers in the NFL because he can do it all. A jack of all trades. He can run, he can blitz, he can tackle sideline to sideline, he can cover the tight end, and he can run and tackle sideline to sideline and get the running back down. Michael Carter's missed a few games this year. Who could have, should have, would have, if he was on the field this year for all those games, what those numbers could have been like. Nothing better to see this young man get those 1,000 yards from scrimmage today. It'd be great to see it. But with him on the field, it really does give the Jets a legit run threat that can, really disrupt this Bills defense and anybody's defense across the league.
Yeah, Ethan talked about the Bills' struggles against the run this year. And games that they've lost, I think about Indianapolis and Tennessee. Teams did damage on the ground against the Bills, and the Jets really have this run game going late in the year. We're looking at Michael Carter right now. 9th in the National Football League, the green and white are, in terms of yards per carry. You talk about Edmonds. Robert Saleh raved about him this week, AB. Said he's a unicorn in the linebacker world. I mean, the guy is 6'5". He's got ridiculous length, speed, range, knockback. He's got it all. There isn't anything he doesn't have. It's definitely going to be a fun one. We'll be watching all afternoon. Eric, how about you? Where are you going with your matchup to watch?
Well, I'm going to talk about, going from the Bills linebacker to our linebacker and C.J. Mosley against Josh Allen. They're both the quarterbacks of their respective sides of the ball. C.J. will be making a lot of adjustments based on what he sees from Josh Allen. And then just physically, Josh Allen with his scramble ability, with his ability to read the defense. C.J. Mosley is going to be a big factor in stopping him, slowing him down. And if he plays well, the Jets are going to have a lot of success. Josh Allen, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. Great arm, great athleticism. C.J. Mosley's been a great linebacker as well. He plays at the top of his game. He covers sideline to sideline. He packs a wallop when he comes to tackle you, and he's the brains of this defense. So I'm really looking forward to that matchup.
As we look at Josh Allen take it all in right now, that crowd is starting to get fired up in Buffalo. A lot of people are out enjoying the spirits out in the parking lot right now. What do you think about C.J. Mosley being named team MVP? He leads the Jets with 155 tackles in 10 games. He's had 10-plus tackles. That's the most by a Jet since 2000. What did you think about Mosley and what he's brought to the table this year?
I love it. I mean, this is, he's delivered what Jets fans were hoping that he would bring to the table when he signed from Baltimore. He's physical. He brings a presence. He's a great leader for this defense. Got the defense playing hard. He performs. He creates big plays. Really does it all. And, it was great to see in the offseason when he lost some weight because he wants to be more athletic, more agile, and to see it turn out on the field and to watch him go from sideline to sideline. 155 tackles. That is a lot of tackles, guys. This is a tackling machine, and it's not just hustle that gets you there. You have to have the brains. You have to understand how teams are attacking you and then have the athletic ability to get there and knock people back at the point of attack. So C.J. Mosley, just a phenomenal player. I'm glad to see his success, and I look forward to the younger linebackers following his trend.
As we look at Josh Allen, here's a stat I want everybody to remember today during this ball game. Josh Allen has played in 6 career games against the Jets. He has 11 giveaways, 5 interceptions, and 6 fumbles lost. Can this Jets defense that is going to give up yards at time to an explosive offense, can they take the ball away? That is one of the keys to this ball game. Fellas, I'm going to Zach Wilson versus perhaps the NFL's top safety duo in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Zach Wilson has gone 4 straight interceptions without an interception after throwing 11 in his first 8 starts. Also, when you talk about the Jets, the offensive line is blocked for a unit that has produced 43 explosive plays. Now, explosive plays are defined as runs of 12-plus yards and passes of 16-plus yards. That's tied for 6th most in the league since Wilson has returned to the lineup in Week 12. Wilson, he's protecting the football. We talk about ball security and how important it is if you want to be playing in these situations in the future. The rookie quarterback has 136 consecutive passes without an interception. As we look at Lorenzo Fatukasi, one of the NFL's top run stuffers on the interior. Jordan Poyer and Michael Hyde for the Buffalo Bills, both of them have 5 interceptions. The Bills, as Trent Green told Caroline Hendershot, they have 30 takeaways this year. That is tied for 3rd in the National Football League. Lastly on Wilson, I just want to say It took the Jets 7 games before they scored a first quarter point. How much have they gotten that fixed? Well, they got 6 first quarter touchdowns in the last 8 games, tied for 3rd best in the league. After the game, we'll be back here for Jets Overtime, presented by Nissan SNY. We'll have you covered all day with their pre- and post-game shows as well. Earlier here in New York on CBS 2, Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh aired. Here's a sneak peek of what perhaps you may have missed. Before the season, you lost a great man in Greg Knapp. From a football perspective, you lost Carl Lawson in the summer. Your quarterback missed 4 games. You dealt with bouts of COVID throughout the team. You missed the game. You lost a heartbreaker to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champions. With that being said, how is that adversity going to shape this team moving forward?
In the offseason, a lot of people asked, what's the identity of this football team? And I said identity really isn't shown until you go through adversity. And it's probably a little more adversity than I even thought would happen with obviously all the things you mentioned, all the different injuries, and it's been a heck of a ride. But at the same time, in this league, this league really doesn't feel sorry for you. It doesn't feel sorry for anyone. It's our job to line up, take advantage of our opportunities, and do the best we can. And what you found through this season is a bunch of guys who really attacked their opportunity and made the most of it. And the character of this entire building, and especially our locker room and our players, they're the ones who step between the white lines to continue to fight, play as hard as they can, and represent not only themselves and families, but the organization the best way they can. And it's been fun. And I know the results haven't been what we wanted, but sometimes we can miss a lot of the great things that are happening by just focusing on results. And what's happened throughout this entire year has been tremendous growth and the reveal, if you will, of a lot of different characters in this building that are exactly what we want to build off of.
That was Robert Saleh. Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh is available on all our digital platforms. Go to NewYorkJets.com or YouTube. You can check that out right now. That aired earlier, 11:30 a.m. This is our final pregame central of the year, unfortunately. I'm Eric Allen. We are in the BetMGM studios. It's time for one of our final segments here at One Jets Drive. It's called All In or Not Today. It's been a hell of a year, but we have our champion as we look at the leaderboard. It's the dude with the biggest guns. Congratulations, Eric Coleman.
Thank you. It was a lot of hard work. I like to thank my competition. Thank you guys for the great motivation. It was awesome. Thank you guys.
Any thoughts from starting with you, Anthony?
Yeah, listen, all the trash talking I have for Ethan this year, there's a possibility we could tie at the end of this day. So I got to get my act together on this final pick of the season.
Yeah, I agree with Anthony.
Yeah. How about Coleman winning this comfortably with a 9-7 mark? He can even rest his starters here. He doesn't even have to make a pick.
He could.
He got a couple layups this year, man. He got some easy ones.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you have to get some layups, but I took some risks and they paid off. Scare money don't make money, as they say.
That's right.
Scare money don't make money. I love it. Okay, man. You're the man of the hour, so we're going to start with you today. The Jets will rush for 125-plus yards against the Bills.
All right, here we go. Another big challenge for the Jets. They've been running the football well the last couple of games. I'm all in on this one. I think the Jets are going to rush for over 125 yards. They're going to play against a great Bills defense who struggled at times against the run, but they're going to rely heavily on it, and the Jets are going to be successful. Big game out of Michael Carter.
Buffalo 19th in the NFL, like we talked about, against the rush. They're giving up nearly 114 yards per game on the ground. Anthony, how about you?
Well, listen, Stephon Diggs is a big part of this offense for the Bills, and I think that they can actually. The goal is can they hold them under 100 yards today? I think, yes, I'm all in on that. Obviously I love the fact that the young defensive backs have really grown up this season. and they played well. I'm also throwing in a little bit of the weather factor. So I'm hoping for those winds to flare up so he doesn't get as much action. So, but yeah, let's see the secondary finish strong. It's been a second half of the season for them, and why not match up against one of the best receivers in football and hold him under 100 yards? He did have 150 plus the last time they got together. So this is a big challenge.
Ethan, before we get to your selection today, do you have anything to say about Anthony's selection there?
I do want to say that I appreciate Anthony saying what he said before. After clowning on me for like 17 weeks, he admits that I'm at his heels, and that's why he's giving himself a layup. I looked up Stephon Diggs' game log. Yeah, the Jets let up 160. Stephon Diggs has 2 games over 100 yards all year, and the last one was Week 10 against the Jets. So Anthony's over here not trying to have me get him by the heels here, and I'm just trying to make it you know what? I made it close after starting awful. So at nothing else, I can say that I caught up, and I appreciate that Anthony respected that. But he's really – I didn't think that someone who used to play in the NFL would be scared of little old me, but here we go.
Oh, okay. Listen, Anthony, he's got a point here. You're saying Stephon Diggs is going under 100. If he averaged 100 yards receiving per game, that would put him at 1,700 yards.
Hey, I'm just saying, I got to go with what's best for me. And that was the best option.
Guy's not actually walking a tightrope here over the Grand Canyon. How about you, Ethan? Where are you going today? Josh Allen?
I'm going with Josh Allen, but mostly Josh Allen's legs. He only ran for 3 yards against the Jets in Week 10. Given the weather, we've set the all-in or not today as he will have at least 40 rushing yards. I'm going to go all in on this one, and I understand that perhaps maybe there's a chance that the Bills wouldn't want to put Josh Allen in harm's way in terms of running the football, considering their playoff spot. They're just fighting for seeding at this point. But I do think that given the weather that you guys laid out and given the past couple weeks, the Bills have used Josh Allen running the football close to 30 times. And I think that, maybe Josh Allen will get a couple
games.
And
you got to pick?
I said all in.
Okay, good. I didn't hear that.
I'm all in. I'm all in on that. 40 yards. You got it.
Sounds like a guy trying to talk himself into something there. That's what it sounds like.
Oh, you guys are too much. Hey,
way to go out on a limb. You got 3 yards the last game we played him, and you get up to 40 on this one? Okay. I mean,
Hey, that's 37 more yards. You want to take 37 yards off of Stephon Diggs?
All right, so Quinnen Williams was out there before with basically a tank top on, but this Jets fan, who we really appreciate for being in the crowd today, he's all bundled up. We asked fans to participate in Pregame Central like we do every week. Again, there is your question. Jets rookie running back Michael Carter will reach 1,000 yards from scrimmage today against the Buffalo Bills. Everybody's pretty much all in there today. We'll just see what happens. My all in or not today, the Jets will force 2 takeaways. I'm all in on that one. I think that Josh Allen is one of the NFL's best players, period. With that being said, sometimes he gets a little greedy, and sometimes he trusts his talent a little bit too much. There's going to be opportunities when he throws across his body. Also, if he does get out and run, the Jets got to be going for that football. My key stat with Allen, again, 6 games against the Jets, 11 giveaways. That's a lot of giveaways, so we're going to have to see what happens today. Let's get to today's game day inactives right now. Let's throw those up there. 4:25 kickoff. Oh, actually, I threw the guys off in the back. LaMichael Pirine down, Isaiah Dunn, Austin Walter, and the last guy on that list, Jonathan Marshall. There's the entire list. You can get that on NewYorkJets.com and all our social platforms. Hey, fellas, any closing thoughts? Let's start with you, Anthony.
Well, yeah, listen, it's been great working with this crew. Everybody behind the glass that nobody knows and sees every single week. Thank you for making this show awesome. And let's just see the Jets finish strong. Playing against the Bucs last week, really that effort was awesome to watch. I mean, it just shows that these guys care, they have heart, and they want to be good. And there's another challenge this week. The Bills are going to give them their all, and they got a chance to end the season on a good note. Win, lose, or draw, play hard, play 4 quarters, and that's all really I think the fans can ask for at this point, and hopefully they can get that done.
Greens, what do you got?
Pretty much what Anthony said in terms of this show. I think that we've had a great time on Pregame Central all year, including my for stretch in like the first 10 weeks of the season. And I've had a great time. And so I appreciate everybody on the show and behind the glass, like Anthony said. And then in terms of this game, more of what we saw last week, right? We feel like the future is bright here based on the core group of young players that the Jets have thrown into the fire, really, on offense and defense. And let's see how this team responds after week 10 when Josh Allen had the day he did, 2 touchdowns, 300-plus yards. Stephon Diggs had over 150. So let's see how this team responds in Orchard Park when something matters for the Bills.
Good point there, Ethan. 45-17, but Zach Wilson did not play in that game. The Bills had 4 interceptions. Closing thought?
Yeah. I mean, big shout out to our team again. I love working with everybody. That sets up the show, all the hard work that's put into it. But I'm just really excited about this team. They're young, they're hungry, they're tenacious. The coaching staff, I think they've done a phenomenal job this year. No, the record is not showing those results, but I think that you're starting to lay the foundation. And if you're a Jet fan and you've been watching them, you see where this team is going. They're heading in the right direction. You get some guys off injury, you add a couple of key components, and I mean, this is going to be a special group. So really excited to be a part of the ride, and I can't wait till next season.
Okay, fellas, we'll see you for post game as always. This is our final Pregame Central of the year. I'm inside the BetMGM studios, but behind the glass, we got Matt Sitkoff and Tim Morgan and Katie. And Chris Gargano's back there today with Caroline Hendershot with the great interview as well. And people on the ground there in Buffalo make this thing happen with those great shots. You were watching Josh Allen and Zach Wilson talk before the game. You don't see that anywhere else. Great photography as well. We saw photographers actually in those shots. But this is our final Pregame Central of the year. We will be back here for Jets Overtime after the game. Remember what's at stake. For the Jets, 4-12, have an opportunity to get their 5th win of the year. The Buffalo Bills, conversely, they're hoping to clinch a 2nd consecutive division title. If the Bills do win, they are AFC East champs. If the Jets pull off the upset and the Patriots win, they are AFC East champs. But we'll have to see how this baby plays out. Thank you all for watching throughout the year. We're gonna be back here for Jets Overtime after the game. Stream on NewYorkJets.com, our app, and Facebook. We'll see you later.